In this example, I will show you how to look for violations of the design principle, dependency inversion principle, called dependency inversion. So the idea behind this principle is that any class should be responsible for one of two things. It should either construct a set of objects and provide as arguments to someone else, or it should declare dependencies and let others construct concrete implementations of those dependencies for it to use. You shouldn't do both. You shouldn't declare that you shouldn't have a tight coupling between a class and tight coupling between an interface and a specific implementation of that interface, and initializing objects that you have as dependencies in the class that uses them. We'll come to why in a moment, but let me first describe an outline of fairly general software architecture in which we have layered an application where the uppermost layer, the layer that interfaces with user or an external application, contains, in this case, a set of classes for a graphical user interface. That user interface relies on a set of services being available. Those are declared in classes in the service layer, a package called service, such as, for instance, payroll service, person service, bank service, course service. And some of these, as you notice, are more intricate than others. Some only implement the basic method all services should be able to provide, the get method. And we can see that in one of these, the course service, there is a reference to something called the DAL, a course DAL, data access layer. It's common that below services, we have a layer that provides access to some kind of serialization or external format. So for all our objects, we have classes that allow us to fetch objects of that type: a bank, a course, a payroll, and a person. All of those implement an interface and provide objects such as methods such as get objects. Now, if we go to this layer of services and we see that it initializes a dependency, a data access layer type object, and invoke methods on that object. So creating an object, invoking methods on it in the same method. This would be if we'd also stated that, well, this is actually a field, so data access layer field. Maybe we even declare it in a constructor or in a field declaration. We can do it in the constructor. So we create a constructor, or rather we add to the current constructor initialization of the data access layer object. Then what happens if we would now want to add new functionality to this payroll service? Imagine that we've created this method, get monthly salary for person, and we're supposed to obtain a list of payrolls, and for every payroll there should be an employee, and we match the employee to the current person and summarize some monthly amount. Okay, but in order to test this, there has to be a set of payroll objects, and each payroll object has to have an employee. And from that payroll we'll have to extract a monthly amount and check that monthly amount to something else. So if we have hard-coded our payroll DAL to access a certain database, And if that database doesn't yet contain all the information we need to test this method, then we need to set up a great many things, and our test will become rather brittle in that we assume not only that this method works, but that the payroll DAL also works, and that a payroll contains the right information, and so on. So what we really want to do is ensure that there is a way for us to obtain a set of payrolls. But we shouldn't really restrict ourselves to the payroll DAL implementation for providing payrolls. There should be some way of obtaining a payroll that can be faked, so that we can test this independently of our current database or our current storage of payroll objects. And by instantiating the field DAL in this constructor, there is no way for an external service to create a payroll service object and provide another implementation of a payroll DAL in the process. And this is a clear violation of the dependency inversion principle. And the reason why it's bad is because it makes it difficult for us to provide fake implementations of a DAL that could be used, for instance, to ensure that we have some kind of payroll objects to test this method with.